From Cleopatra to Queen Rania of Jordan, beauty and monarchy have forever been a source of public fascination. While beauty ideals of today may lean towards golden tanned skin and a flowing mane, throughout the eras and dynasties, queens and rulers set the standards of beauty. Step forward, Elizabeth I of England, the last of 5 Tudor monarchs. Elizabeth was regarded as the Virgin Queen. Her image was a Renaissance snapshot of total inner purity. Lo and behold, as the Elizabethan era unfolded, most women wished to emulate the image of their pure and fair queen. This being said, emulating the image wasn't a short and easy shift. It could be, frankly, hideous. Looking like the queen meant washing one's face in mercury. It meant plucking one's forehead. Heck, people even wanted black teeth just to have the same rotten gnashers as the queen. Welcome to History on Fleek. Today we examine the horrifying beauty trends of the Elizabethan era. With a queen sitting on the throne, beauty ideals took on great public interest in the Elizabethan era. Queen Elizabeth I had a striking, defined image, impossible to confuse or lose in the crowd. The image to imitate was the queen herself, and the boxes to be ticked were clear as day. Pale alabaster skin, cheeks given a reddish hue, red lips, bright eyes, and the fairer the hair, the better. Notoriously, a pale complexion was a symbol of wealth, prestige, or good health. The poorest of people could never achieve a clear, pale complexion, as working for a living would produce otherwise. It should be stated that beauty ideals were pursued only by women who could afford the effort, the nobility and aristocracy. Though it must be said, some of the lengths they were willing to go to may just blow your mind. Elizabethan beauty trends demanded a lot of women. For starters, you could forget having eyebrows. Women of the time were thoroughly convinced being as hairless as humanly possible was the way to appeal to the opposite sex. Quite fascinatingly, the hairlessness, the high hairlines, the lack of eyebrows, and pale complexion, this was all to achieve a childlike, virginal appearance. The female aesthetic of the times was to project internal purity on the outside. When it came to the brows, the ideal demanded narrow yet arched eyebrows, aiming to make the eyes appear wider and brighter. Often, women would complement the effect with a drop of belladonna to widen and whiten their eyes. Some would even use black coal to line their eyes, much like eyeliner practices of today. Lessening eyebrows to bring out eyes was the aim of the game, so pluck, pluck, pluck away did the noble women of Elizabethan England. Probably the most famous image from Elizabethan beauty standards, the pale complexion was a highly desired, if not essential, effect. This was purely of the time. The Tudor epoch prior had a facial beauty standard that wouldn't be snuffed at today. Skincare in the Tudor period was upheld with balms and creams with ingredients such as sesame seed oil, beeswax, and honey, all for a natural, soft skin look, and with all natural ingredients. Not bad, huh? Well, the Elizabethan threw all that to the dogs. Queen Elizabeth was smart to project a public image to her subjects. She would project the image of the Virgin Queen. One of the clearest ways she could do this was to pale her skin with layers and layers of white makeup. After just a few public appearances, Elizabethan women were looking to emulate their queen and ruler. However, there was one clear caveat to achieving a look of virginal purity: the makeup used for this to happen. The queen would pale her face using several layers of thick ceruse. Now, ceruse was made up of, in the majority, vinegar and white lead. This would very much make the face applied to look paler. It was also concurrently continually poisoning the skin it was worn on. So over time, many women of the Elizabethan era would fall ill, or for that matter, die quite early, after several years of chasing the pale appearance. True then as it is now, want the best of cosmetics? It'll cost you. The desired look of the times was based around a stark, powerful image of a virgin queen, and this very much included her stark reddish hair. While not every Elizabethan woman would be blessed with the auburn hue, fair hair became the desired hair palette of the day. On top of a paled face, reddened cheeks, and red lipstick, increasingly upper-class women of the Elizabethan era looked to get red in their hair. It should not come as a surprise, many women of the nobility would use wigs to achieve their ideal red up top. Though, so did the queen herself. Known as periwigs, the queen's famed mane was represented by over 80 hairpieces during her reign. Royal imposters? Well, you decide. Yet many women of the time without wig assistance would get into the practice of dyeing their hair. Mixtures of oil, celandine, saffron, and cumin seeds were used to bring Elizabethan hair to a more desirable lighter tone. How good this was for the health of the hair in question, there aren't so many written accounts for that. If there was one surprising upside to being poor in the Elizabethan era, it would be the inability to have the beauty regimes of the richest. Elizabethan beauty wasn't just a matter of getting pale, plucked, and whacking a red wig on. No, there was an entire beauty care regime. Much of the concerns found in the skincare today could be found back then. A desire to rid oneself of blemishes, lines, and wrinkles. Yet the way this was achieved in the 16th century would be some kind of war crime by today's standards. With faces continually peppered with lead, ash, tin, and vinegar, you go girl, washing and cleaning one's face before and after was vital. Unfortunately for women of the Elizabethan aristocracy, washing one's skin was done with mercury. Yep, the stuff that sent the Mad Hatter quite mad and generally put a blemish on top hat fashion eternally, mercury was the choice of face wash. Womanhood in the Elizabethan era. If the lead poisoning doesn't get to you, the mercury poisoning certainly will. Then again, skincare outside of casually dousing oneself in mercury wasn't a pretty picture. Spots and blemishes would be taken care of with lemon juice, rose water, eggshells, honey, and mercury! More mercury? What? Forget it. The Elizabethans are just lucky the entire female population didn't go insane. Easily the most painstaking and thoroughly neglected beauty practice of Elizabethan times, plucking one's forehead was all the rage for women of the aristocracy. Now for clarity, this didn't literally mean plucking hairs from one's forehead. No, the practice involved plucking the hairs from one's hairline, sometimes an entire inch of the hairline. Yikes! This bizarre and no doubt uncomfortable course of action was in pursuit of a beauty ideal of the era. In Elizabethan times, not only pale skin but a high hairline was a signature symbol of the noble classes. Hairlines weren't the only hairs being plucked away in pursuit of an ideal image. Forehead plucking was just one painful process among many the noblewomen of the Elizabethan era pursued. Yeah, many moons ago, long before America had an appetite for white teeth, Britain had an appetite for black teeth. A true story. The desired look of black and rotted teeth was all the rage of Elizabethan England thanks to Elizabeth. Accounts state that Queen Elizabeth herself was prone to throwing back as many sweets as possible throughout the day, a regent forever running on a sugar high. Yet, it being the 16th century and all, dentistry was more a concept than a craft that had to be mastered. So yeah, the Queen of England's teeth soon rotted, and a lot of the country joined her. In fairness to the English of the time, it was believed that sugar could be a useful digestive aid, and was even used as a prototype cough drop. I know what you're thinking, but the Elizabethans had their own toothpaste back then, right? Yeah, they did. Made of stone, pumice, and coral. Elizabethans would scrub this into their mouths and gums, making the dental health crisis even worse. Here's to more enlightened times. This is History on Fleek, and we'll see you next time.